What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so there was a major injury announcement last night. It involves Philadelphia Sixers All-Star Ben Simmons, who is likely out for the season, according to Adrian Wojnarowski. I'll put a link to the article in the description box below. Philadelphia 76ers All-Star Ben Simmons will undergo arthroscopic surgery on his left knee and is likely to miss the rest of the regular season, sources tell ESPN. Simmons will have a loose body removed from his left knee in the coming days, the team announced on Saturday. Only a deep Sixers playoff run could keep a fleeting hope of his return alive this season, sources said. Even then, his return from the procedure, expected to take place outside of the Disney campus in the coming days, is largely expected to come next season. The Sixers are preparing now for a postseason run that will come without Simmons, one of the league's most talented and versatile weapons. The loose body was a result of a left patella subluxation suffered in Wednesday's victory over the Washington Wizards. A subluxation of the patella means that the kneecap popped out of place but returned on its own. I've had that happen before. The Sixers had moved Simmons to the power forward spot, and now the team's offensive focus turns fully to All-Star center Joel Embiid. The Sixers will suffer significantly on the defensive end without Simmons, and offensively they'll count on a lineup of shooting surrounding Embiid that could give him more room to operate around the basket. The injury also means the return of Al Simmons in Philadelphia's starting lineup. Horford had been replaced in the starting five by guard Shake Milton when Simmons was shifted to power forward after the Sixers arrived in Orlando, but now is back starting next to Embiid. The Sixers have struggled to maximize the talents of both big men when they have shared the court together since signing Horford as a free agent last summer. That has led Brown to try to limit the amount of time that they were going to play together moving forward. Now he has little choice but to try to make it work. So, these are my thoughts on this. Look, me personally, I never did have much faith in the Sixers, and I am one to, believe that Ben Simmons is very talented, athletically. In transition, he's very, very effective and very dangerous. That's when he's most dangerous. But in a playoff run, generally, defenses ramp up. The game tends to slow down a lot in playoff games, especially as you play against tougher competition and you have more half-court sets, and transition is limited or becomes more limited. In a situation like that, Ben Simmons becomes less effective offensively. But they will miss Ben Simmons. And, I wouldn't be surprised now if the Sixers bow out in the second round. This really hasn't worked, largely because of the fact that, Ben Simmons, in my opinion, just refuses to improve in his overall game. It's funny how they'll talk about how guys in the past couldn't shoot and how guys in the past can't compare to the athletes of today. They're bigger, faster, and stronger. But doesn't it seem like today's athletes get hurt more often? Doesn't it seem like today's athletes can't even play hurt anymore? And they miss so many games, but they make so much money. And sometimes you do wonder, and I was just discussing this just yesterday before the Ben Simmons injury was announced. I was discussing this with a subscriber, in chat. It's interesting that weightlifting used to be looked down upon and was not really done. A matter of fact, I think the only real player or players that were weightlifting back in the day were centers, like Wilt. Artis Gilmore may have done that. I know Wilt did. Some of your big men, they were the guys that were weightlifting, but other than them, because they play a strenuous position, especially back then, the traditional center position, and power forward too, where strength was needed. Bob Pettit was really the guy that started weightlifting. Bob Pettit, when he came into the NBA in the 1950s, he was about 205 pounds. When he came into the NBA, he did not know how to play with his back to the basket. But over time, he was a guy that was a face-up scorer. But over time, Bob Pettit introduced weightlifting in his career, and he bulked up to 230, between 230, sometimes as high as 240. And he learned how to play with his back to the basket, and he became, before Wilt Chamberlain, in my opinion, the league's most dominant scorer. But it's possibly a detriment to some of the things that guys do today, because they are, when you look at them, they are bulkier, they're heavier, but they seem to get injured more often. So, that might be a video idea down the line. Like I said, I'm sorry that he's hurt. If he didn't get hurt, maybe the Sixers could have made a run, maybe possibly, in my opinion, to the conference finals, Eastern Conference Finals. I don't know if they would have made it to the NBA Finals. I just don't trust the Sixers. But at the end of the day, I don't think Ben Simmons is going to come back this year. He's going to have to come back next year. But until he develops an outside shot, at least has that, to the point where he becomes less one-dimensional offensively, Ben Simmons will never be a guy that could lead you to another level, because it's just too easy. Not easy, but it's, he makes it easier for the defenses by not even shooting it. Like, look, Rondo was a terrible three-point shooter when he came to the NBA. Russell Westbrook is not a great three-point shooter, but he will at least shoot it. He will at least take it to make the defenses honest. Ben Simmons just simply refuses to take that shot for the most part, and it hurts the Sixers. It hurts their spacing. So without Ben Simmons in the lineup, hopefully now Joel Embiid will be able to be Joel Embiid. Now the onus is on Joel Embiid to step up and do something. And, hopefully he can step up to the plate, but it's going to be a team effort. Now he's going to be maybe in a situation similar to Dwight Howard when he had that team with Orlando. Now he's going to be around a bunch of guys that can shoot. It's going to be him and Horford. But Horford is going to have to, be more on the perimeter, in my opinion, because both of them together in the paint, it's not going to work. Horford is going to have to kind of, hover a little bit more around the three-point line or in that vicinity or whatever. And Joel Embiid is going to have to be able to produce, man. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully Joel Embiid can be the 27-point, 12, 13 rebound guy that he was before. I did see that Al Horford played well the other night, so maybe that's a good omen for the Sixers. But, I can't wait for the playoffs, really, to be honest with you, so I can start really watching these games. But tell me what you guys think.